Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today we're in the M6A2E1, or the Mutant Six as it's more commonly known, and it's basically a beefed up, armoured M6, and it's a tier 7 American, no, tier 8 American premium, sorry, with preferential matchmaking. So we're in a tier 8 match. It's on South Coast and it's a standard battle. Now, like I say, this is basically a beefed up M6 with the gun from the T29, but with a slightly less rate of fire. The T29 is 5.26, this is 5.05 rounds a minute. Accuracy is 0.42 and aim time is 2.29 seconds, so essentially the same gun handling. 29 kilometers an hour, but it is, like I say, very well armoured on the front. 191 millimeters, and that's upper and lower plate. It's got 66 on the sides and 51 on the rear, so you really don't want to let anything get around you. And you do have to be quite careful side scraping. The turret front is 229 millimeters, so it's not quite as tough as the T29, but it is a very, very tough turret front. Only 89 on the sides though, but the rear is a bit of a surprise at 208 millimeters. And I've been in it when that's caught people out before. You know, they've tried shooting, I've been hauled down somewhere and somebody's got round behind and they've had the back of my turret and, you know, they couldn't see the back of my tank, and they've tried putting shots into it and it was just bouncing off. So I'm going to work my way up onto this higher part, down on the eastern side, down the zero line, and normally there's a bit of an enemy push this way as well, but there seems to be nothing today. Well, both of these are from a few days ago actually, these replays. It's slightly shorter than normal, with only 2 replays tonight. There's an SU-100, give him a big smack and damage his engine. Now, while I'm looking for something else to shoot, thank you everybody for all your comments. They're all fantastic, and I try and read and reply to as many as I can do, but sometimes I do miss them. Sometimes I don't get a notification through to actually tell me about the comment. I've seen some on the videos which I've not had notifications for, so if I've missed your comment, I do apologise. I do try and read and answer as many as possible. And I've also got a Facebook page up and running now. The link to that is in the video description below, and it's still a work in progress. It's up and running. I'm still going to be putting things on there, but we are still working on it, and I'm going to try and create an area or a group or something where you guys can basically go and look for platoon mates if you want. So any of my subscribers can go on there and just look for somebody to platoon on World of Tanks with. But like I say, it is a work in progress. I'll put the links down below if you want to go and have a look. So I've got the high ground on that Tiger 2, and you can see there I just took a bounce from him. Now, with me having the high ground, I can shoot down into the top of his turret or down into the top of his engine deck if I can get it. But I take a shot at that medium while I'm working my way round towards that Tiger 2. There's somebody else on him, but there's an IS-6 coming down as well. So I've got to be careful. I'm quite safe from, well, I thought I was safe from the Tiger 2, but he got a shot at me there, and it was a good job I turned my turret towards him. So I'm going to go down and try and ram him, but he tracks me on the way down the hill, which was very unfortunate, and that's when I notice he's got the stock turret on. So I was just about to put him through the front of his turret, but somebody else destroyed him before I got the chance to reload there. Now let's try and deal with this IS-6. Try and help this 50T out. Oh, I was going for the driver's hatch, but he went slightly high and hit his gun mantle. Can I get one into the side of him on the back as he's coming around? Yes, I can. And then somebody else finishes him off. So the battle's progressing quite nicely in our favour. It's 9-4, which is quite a decent lead. But it all depends on how good the remaining players are and what tanks they're in. Now, when you come up against one of these Mutant Sixes, if you can't get around them, try and go for the commander's hatch on top if you can shoot it. If you can't, because they're using the gun depression or something else, and you can see the turret ring, and you've got enough penetration, I'd say you need over 200 mil of penetration to get through the turret ring, definitely. But if you're in another tier 8, some of those do have sort of 212 and you're close enough, because obviously don't forget your penetration drops off over range. You could probably put one through the turret ring, but you do need high penetration to do that. You're not going to do it with an IS with 175mm of pen, definitely not. A Tiger with the long 88 203mm pen, close enough, it might do it. It'd be 50-50 I think with that one. But if you come up against them in tier 9s, you know, tier 9s can bounce off the front of these and off the front of the turret, but some of the tier 9s, or a lot of them, do have enough penetration to get through that turret ring though, so do be aware of that if you come up against one of these, and do beware of that if you're in one of these. Now, I'm going to face down this hammer. I don't want to give him my side, because it is very weak. And if he tracks me, and yeah, you see, got to be careful to give him the side. If he tracks me side on, he can really work me over, because he's got a very good rate of fire. When he goes for the ram there, and I back up and put it through the top deck, the top of his hull there, and he gets finished off by that medium, was it, that was alongside me? Right, only 2 heavies left now. One of them is just round the corner, which I think is another hammer. Yes, it is. He's nearly done for, and yeah, just shoot on the move, and he goes straight into the floor behind his backside. That was my own fault. Should have stopped and aimed just for a second, and I probably would have got that kill. But never mind. Anyway, we've got one left, and if I remember rightly, it's an IS-3. Now, if he's got the BL-9, he's got 225mm of penetration, so he probably could put one through that turret ring. So I'm just going to have to be a little bit careful of that. There he is, he's right down on the beach, and at first, looking at his movements on the map, it actually looked like he was going to go and try and drown himself. But I don't think he did. He was actually just getting into a position behind some wreckage, I think, to sort of dig in and try and make a last stand. But we have got him outnumbered by quite a few. Right, where is he? Now, if I've got him fronted, I've got 198mm of penetration on this with 320 damage, but I can get that weak spot on top of his turret if I can just hit it. And that's going to be the issue, because I've got 0.42 accuracy, which is not particularly accurate. In fact, then, yeah, I was rushing that. I really should have aimed that properly, and that could have probably gone through the side of his turret there. So I'm just going to get down closer, pop it in, going for the ammo rack. Leaves him on a little bit of health, so I'm just going to get as close as possible. Try and limit where he can shoot me. I don't want him to get my commander's hatch, and now I can just get that weak spot on top because I'm so close and so tall. And there you go, there's the match. Alright, so obviously that was a victory. That was my first victory of the day, and that, like I say, it was from a few days ago. 3,703 damage done with a high caliber, a second class mastery, and a Confederate, which is always nice. I wasn't expecting the Confederate, so that was a nice surprise. Now, I did get an extra 20,000 from 2 ops, but that was still quite a nice sort of amount of earnings from that match, and that's why I like the Mutant Six. It does earn a lot of silver, and it is good for grinding out, you know, when you're a few 100,000 short or something from your next tank. It's good for grinding that out because it's got quite a good silver earning potential to it. Right, here we are for the second replay of this evening, and I'm in the VK4502A. It's Ghost Town, it's a standard battle, and it's a tier 8 match. It's quite favourable matchmaking, actually. This is the other tier 8 German heavy, the other one being the Tiger 2, of course. This one, it doesn't get the same top gun as the Tiger 2, it gets the one below it, which is 105mm, what you would call the short 105mm, with 200mm of penetration, 300 damage, 5.9 rounds a minute. Not bad accuracy at 0.37 and a half decent aiming time at 2.3 seconds. Just 38 kilometers an hour. It feels quite nimble, but its traverses are only 28 and 25, and that's for hull and turret. It's got 120 mil of armour on the front, 80 on the sides and rear, and the fully upgraded turret is 185 on the front and 80 sides and rear. Now, even though I think, if I remember rightly, that's the same basic value on the front, 120 mil, as the Tiger 2, I don't think this has got quite as good sloping. The armour on the front of this isn't quite as effective as it is on the front of the Tiger 2. Now, that's not to say that it's ineffective, but you do have to play it differently, and in fact this feels more like a heavy medium than a true heavy. And I quite like it, actually. I was a bit, I don't know, I thought it was a bit mediocre when I first got it, and I was sort of grinding through it, and then I got this Top Gun on it, and obviously fully upgraded. And I've actually come to quite enjoy this tank, and I was going to sell it when I got the VK4502B, but I'm in two minds now. It's like I say, I am quite enjoying it now. I'd like to say that was skill that I hit that corner piece on the Tiger P, which is one of the few places you can pen, but it wasn't. I was going for the side of the turret and it just happened to drop down and hit in there and penetrate, so that was just pure luck, not skill, unfortunately. And a cheeky auto lock on the Pershing. I must stop doing that, it normally doesn't work for me, it's very odd that it has. So I'm going to aim up properly and put another one through his hull. And that's when the Tiger P decides to pop out. When I've fired, not quite enough reload to hit the Tiger P, so keep an eye on the Pershing. He's disappeared down another street, so I'm safe from him for now. I can move in on the Tiger P. He's taking a beating from RT, and it looked like from that tank destroyer just off to my right. So he's dealt with. Still keeping an eye on that Pershing and those others. I don't want to give them a flank. And we've got a steering mill around the corner. And I was taking my time with the aiming, but then when he turned to look at me, I thought, do you know what? Fire and back off. I don't want to take a hit from him. I missed, but somebody else hit him instead, so he did take a bit of damage, so he's getting out of there. Oh, and then a wild SU-100 pops up. Now, if I remember rightly, does he have an 85 mil? No, I went for the steering wheel again, but missed. So I'm going to get rid of this SU-100. And he's just bouncing off me, I don't even have to angle, so I don't have to be too afraid of him at the minute. Wait for the reload and finish him off. Now we've got a T-21, and again, that's the light tank version of the T-20. And if I remember rightly, I think it gets a 76 mil, so again, I don't really have to be too afraid of him either. And that's, you know, that's what half of it is with a game like World of Tanks. It's knowing the tanks that you're up against as much as knowing the tank that you're in it yourself, and you know, knowing what their penetration is, what you do have to be wary of and what you don't. And in a match like this where there's a few tier 8s, a few tier 7s, a few tier 6s, you know, there are a few tier 6s that will get through the front of one of these, especially if they fire premium ammunition. So it's a case of just knowing what you can and can't face down. Sort of, you know, some things you'll be able to just charge down, knowing that they're just going to bounce off your armour and you're not. And then there's other things that you have to be a bit more wary of. So, you know, that's half the battle with improving at this game. And other games like it, is knowing what you're up against. Now, I think somebody did ping around the enemy cap for us to go and cap, and I thought, do you know what, you know, I don't want to cap, I want to get in there, I want to do a bit more damage and what have you. And I was just looking at what was left. I think it's 4 enemy heavies and a medium. We did have 3 RT, 2 tank destroyers and me, and we've just lost our RT. And it was at this point that I was thinking, do you know, I might have possibly made a mistake and thrown the match here. See if we can finish the the Chinese one. No, Chinese. I don't even Chinese. The Japanese tank. I couldn't even get my words out. Anyway, it was a 50-50. Pen finished him off. But yeah, I was seriously thinking, especially when I saw a full health IS-3, that I had possibly cocked up and should have gone for the cap. And I was starting to get a bit concerned that I'd possibly made a mistake. But I put one into the IS. There was something else in the cap as well, but it reset it slightly. And it's made the IS move out of cap. I think they're feeling quite confident because they had us outnumbered. But it looked like Tank Destroyer, I think, just evened it up a little bit. But it's 2 on 3 at the minute. It's a Crafts Panther. Put a good one through his hull. And this was quite strange. Both the Crafts Panther and the IS completely ignore me, leaving me to finish off the Crafts Panther. The IS is still ignoring me. So I'm going to put one into the back of him, but somehow donk it straight into the ground. Well, I'm not going to win doing stuff like that, am I? Now, the odds are not so much in my favour anymore. I've got this IS-3 on full health. I've got an IS next to me on about 2/3 health, 3/4. But the IS seems to be bouncing, so that's not too bad. But he's trying to get around me, and I don't want to give my flank to an IS-3. I don't know what state the IS-3 is in. I don't know if he's got the BL9. I don't know if he's stock. I don't know what he is at the minute, but I just don't want to be giving my flank or my arse to an IS-3. So get round the corner. The IS was bouncing, but he did get a couple into my side and another one. So I'm going to try and chase him down. The IS-3 is chasing me down, and we're all just going on a merry little dance around these buildings at the minute. But one more into the IS should do it. And I just don't really want to take another hit, but I do. But yeah, one more finished him off. Now, just a full health IS-3, and I'm on about 1/3 health. I lost quite a lot trying to take down the IS there. I probably could have done that better. But like I say, I did not want to get surrounded. I had to get away from the IS-3, and I didn't want him to put a shot into me. So, knocked his tracks off. Started side scraping, managed to put one through his lower plate, and then I'm going to spin round and surprise him and put one straight through the side of his tank. And it was about this point that I realised he was actually stock. I'd not paid attention before, I was just concentrating on not dying. And it was about then I realised that he'd got the stock turret, so he's basically at 175mm of penetration and a very slow rate of fire. So I'm going to keep side scraping. I'm going to put it through his lower plate, just like that. Well, just like I did, sorry. A little bit delayed there. Right. Now, he starts backing off. He's feeling a bit less confident, and I've just tracked him, basically just to give myself a little bit of thinking time. So pull up, go for the lower plate again, but I think that one bounced. Well, he bounced off me in return, so that wasn't too bad. And I was just wondering whether to let him drop off radar and actually go round to the right, but I didn't want to take too long and him pop round the corner and put one into the back of me before I get him. So I am being a little bit indecisive here, as you can see, just thinking the best course of action. I don't want to get one in the side, so you know, I don't want to go around here, start setting up for a side scrape and him just pop further around and put one into my side, but I take a bad one there. But I know that I'm going to beat him on the reload, so I'm going to get round him, try and put it into his turret like that, and then try and turn to get my frontal armour and angle a bit. Come on. Oh, can I beat his reload? And he completely misses, and I managed to put one into the side of him, and that's the match. That was fun. Well, no, that was do you know, I think that might have been the best match I've ever had in that. I'm not quite sure. Definitely most intense, but not too bad at the end of the day. Not too shabby at all. 4,802 damage done with 2,730 blocked. I got my mastery badge, and I also came out of that with Top Gun and a high caliber. So quite a good fun match. I did get an extra 1,500 XP though. So don't get too excited over that. There was a 1,500 XP bonus in there, I think, before it got doubled up. So you can see the base XP there. But yeah, not a bad match. And like I say, I do like this tank. And you don't tend to see many of them. You see a lot of Tiger 2s, but not so many of these. But it's a good fun tank to play. It really is. I'd recommend it if you like the German tanks. Definitely. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's episode. I hope it's entertained you, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I'm not quite sure what that is yet, but we'll soon see. And as always, take care out there, and I will catch you next time. See you later.